A named storm could form in the Atlantic soon in today's tropical outlook on the 11th of August as we continue our habit of tracking tropical cyclones across the globe. So let's start with the Atlantic Ocean as usual. We have Invest 97L that is located in the tropical Atlantic region currently has a high chance of development according to the National Hurricane Center. We also have 96L now moving across the northern part of the Atlantic, has a much reduced chance of development now, comparing to a couple of days ago, where it's expected to have a medium chance. Now it only has a low chance of development in the future. And to the left hand side of the image, you can spot like a group of thunderstorm that's just located off the coast of western Florida. That could be a small tropical wave, but the National Hurricane Center isn't really picking that up on at the moment. So not any advisory has been given about that. So he is Invest 97L, 70% chance to develop in the next 48 hours and up to 90 in the next 7 days. So we are quite certain that this one will be upgraded to a tropical depression or storm very soon. It's located just to the west of Cabo Verde, still very far away from, land where tropical cyclones usually affect in the Atlantic Ocean, and it does have a long journey ahead of it. So what are the ensembles saying right now? So this is the European ensembles. Not a lot of divergence in terms of the trajectory in the earlier parts of this week. But as we go into the weekend, you can see some disagreement on how north or how early the system will begin to turn northwards. Moving forward to next week, the vast majority of the members expecting it to kind of just peel away to the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean and avoid contact with land ahead of it. Very few members expecting it to hit Bahamas as a very powerful tropical cyclone, but that is looking unlikely right now if you look at the trend of the computer models that are changing. Intensity-wise, most models calling for at least a hurricane, quite a few of them calling even for a major hurricane. So that is quite significant. So let's dive into more details in terms of the wind field forecast. This is the GFS. Here, actually expecting a tropical storm by tomorrow, and it will maintain that intensity for 2 or 3 days as we go into the weekend. Then some hurricane force wind will begin to develop. Here we could have a Cat 1 hurricane. It's also going to be a pretty compact and small system, in fact. It's going to begin shifting northwards after that, whilst probably reaching Category 2 hurricane intensity earlier next week. Then it's going to speed up. It's going to make its way towards the north, where it will probably hit the eastern coast of Canada and probably the northern tip of the US as a powerful extratropical cyclone. So here is what it looks like right now. Very decent amount of convection and high cloud tops has been developed. Some of those still covering Cabo Verde there. Some strong rainfall and gusty winds could be affecting that region. A very small and compact system, as we mentioned earlier, matching the forecast of the system. A small amount of outer flow towards the western side, some good humidity coming in from the southern side of the system. You can see those cloud tops at the bottom of our animation there. Sea surface temperature around 97 L, actually not high, sitting around 26, 27 degrees, which is barely favorable for development. It's marginal intensification could be expected under these temperatures, but as it moves westward, look at that, it's going to enter those warmer areas. In fact, the further it goes west, the warmer the temperatures become. So we're expecting a much more intensification, later as comparing to now when it enters the western side of the Atlantic Ocean. Other condition also looking decent, wind shear keeping at quite low, around 5 knots. Some dry air from the shower and dust probably will affect the system, but in general, condition at the moment is sustainable for 97L to become a tropical cyclone in the next a few days, probably even in the next 1 to 2 days, sorry for my misinformation there. So back to the Pacific Ocean, we have Tropical Depression Evil here, which is still hanging on for its dear life, but it's going to be gone very soon due to excessive amount of dry air. Central Pacific Ocean, look at that at the top of our image. That is Henriette, which has somehow rapidly intensified back to a Category 1 hurricane earlier this morning. The National Hurricane Center even expecting it to become a Category 2 hurricane in the next 24 hours or so. So this is quite a redemption arc, you could say. Reason of this rapid intensification is probably because it entered more favorable conditions such as high surface temperature and wind shear also has dropped quite a bit in the last 1 to 2 days. Currently with winds of 80 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 999 millibars, located at 27.6 degrees north, 155.0 degrees west, moving northwestward at 17 miles per hour. The good news is, no impact to land is expected from Henriette, so nothing to panic about this system. So this is the latest satellite right now, looking really decent at the moment. Clear, defined eye and eyeball. Very small system indeed, having a large extent of its tropical storm force wind radius stretched out towards just about 60 nautical miles. Good outer flow towards the northern side. It's going to glide over the huge Pacific Ocean and gradually weaken as we enter the later part of this week. Back to the other side of the Pacific Ocean, we have only one tropical cyclone active. That isn't usually the theme of this year, but we have Podul heading towards Taiwan, still as a tropical storm, but is expected to reach typhoon status in the next 1 to 2 days. We could be seeing quite significant impacts towards Taiwan and areas around there. So currently 65 miles per hour, still a mid-range tropical storm for now. 99 millibars, 20.7 degrees north, 132.2 degrees east, moving westward at 25 kilometers per hour. So here's what's expected from Podul. Wind shear is still going to remain as a big factor that prevents any significant intensification. Hence why we're still only expecting a Cat 1 typhoon at its peak intensity. So sea surface temperature and humidity is still going to be sustainable enough for it to make landfall around central and southern Taiwan as a typhoon, which is going to cause certain extent of effect and damage towards those areas. And after landfall, it will also hit the eastern coast of China, but by that time it would have weakened by a lot, probably perhaps down to a tropical storm. So this is the satellite right now. You can obviously tell that this is a tropical cyclone that is heavily impacted by strong wind shear. There's even a particularly partially exposed low-level circulation center. The convection on the northern side of the storm is, well, completely missing. Literally nothing can be seen there. All those cloud tops are getting pushed towards the west as soon as they're developed. So it's going to be a very elongated system probably for the better part of its lifespan. So thanks for watching and we hope you have a fantastic day. See you later.